Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com, and we are here today with lesson number 39 in our incredible new tutorial series where you are learning artificial intelligence on the Jetson Nano. I will need you to pour yourself a nice big mug of iced coffee. Today I will also be enjoying some hot coffee, and I need you guys to get ready to learn some cool new stuff. So let's go ahead and let's get out our Jetson Nano gear. Okay, let's get out our Jetson Nano gear. And while you guys are getting it up and booted up, out and booted up, I want to take a second and as always and give a shout out to you guys who are helping me out over at Patreon. Your support is a huge encouragement to me, and I want to thank you. You guys that are not helping out yet, look in the description down below. There is a link over to my Patreon account. Think about hopping on over there and hooking a brother up. But enough of this shameless self-promotion. Let's jump in and talk about what we are going to do today. Today is a very exciting lesson, and it is the lesson we have been building towards for about the last 38 lessons or so. What we are going to do today is we're going to do our first program where we actually recognize faces or identify faces. So we're going to find the faces, put a box around them, and then we're going to say who is in that box. And so this just opens up a whole new world of possibilities, and I am just really excited about this. So we're going to be taking baby steps. We're going to start with some real simple examples, but then from that you can start seeing where we will be going in the future, where we begin to do more and more sophisticated things. So first thing I'm going to need you to do is, I think it will be easier if we are working on the same group of images. And so what we are going to do is we are going to open up, excuse me, again, I don't have coronavirus. The cleaning ladies keep spraying bleach everywhere. Makes me a little bit wheezy. Okay, so we need to open up a browser, and I need to move this over here. And then what you need to do is, let me get this where you can see it. What you need to do is go to, hopefully you can see this okay, but I will say it out loud. You need to go to my GitHub repository, which is https://github.com. That's github.com/mcwhorpj/demo images. Demo images. Okay, can you see that? Maybe you can see this a little better. It's in github.com/mcwhorpj/demo images. All right. Now, once you get there, you come to the clone or download button, and then, ooh, I probably should get out of your way here, huh? Okay, so you come right down here. You can see that there's two folders, known and unknown. You want to click or on the clone or download, and then you can see this URL. Click on the URL, right mouse click, and say copy. So you get this URL here, which is the address of these folders that you're going to download. All right, now we are going to come over to PyPro, right? You've got your PyPro folder where you keep your Python work, you keep your work in this series. Inside of PyPro, you can see some of our old folders, but we're going to go ahead and start with a new folder, and that folder we are going to call Face Recognizer. Face Recognizer. And if you're going to be using the same paths as me, it's Face Recognizer, R uppercase. Okay, and then we are going to create that. And let's see, did that come up? Yeah, right there, Face Recognizer. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to open up a terminal. So open terminal. And now we want to kind of navigate down into that. So if I go ls, all right, I'm going to change my directory to desktop. And then I'm going to change my directory to PyPro, right? And then ls. There's my PyPro folders, and then I'm going to change my directory into Face I misspelled that. I got to go fix that spelling. Okay. Face recognizer. Rename. Face recognizer without an M. Rename. Okay, that should be good. Now I am going to come over here and change directory into face recognizer and then ls, and it is empty, right? Now what we want to do is we want to go get those folders because I've got some test images and they'll really help you out. So what I'm going to do is I am going to say git, G-I-T, clone, and then what do you want to clone? You want to clone that repository that you copied a while ago. Okay, and that was that address there. Does that make sense? So git, G-I-T, clone, git clone. Let me just start this line over. I messed it up so bad. Okay, so I'm going to do git clone, and then I'm going to paste that address that we copied from my repository. So I'm going to paste. And now I'm going to click enter, and what it's doing is it's going out and getting those images, and so we will have the same group of images that we're working with. Okay, very good. I think I'm going to close this terminal, and let's go ahead and open up our file navigator. It's this little, it looks like a little file cabinet. We're going to click on that, and then we come up and we want to go to desktop, and then we want to go to PyPro. And then we want to go to our new folder that we just made, Face Recognizer. And then you can see that we have demo images. Well, inside of demo images, we have known images and we have unknown images. Now, the known images we will use to train our artificial intelligence system. Then our unknown images we will use to test. Okay, so if we come back here to known images, you can see that I've got a picture of Charlton Heston, a picture of Miss Chase, I've got a picture of Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi, and the one, the only, Mr. Paul McWhorter. All right, and then if I look at my unknown images, they've got all the kind of same, a lot of the same people in them, but just different pictures of them. So we'll see if we can recognize them once they're trained. The other thing I want to show you is just kind of a naming convention that we're using. On the known, I am using a file name that has the person's name in it, and that way that tag, that file name can be used in training. Does that make sense? I'll be using that file name in training. And so this is Charlton Heston, the picture, but we're going to know it's Charlton Heston because the file says Charlton Heston. Or this is Donald Trump. Well, the file name says Donald Trump. So it sort of helps us do this a little bit easier. Now, if we look at the unknown, though, we're not going to put any clues in the file name of who it is. It's just unknown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So those are our unknown images. So that should be all set up. So I need you to go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code, okay? And then we are going to come down to our face recognizer and we are going to add a new file, okay? And I think I will just call this face recognize -1.py. And the .py, as you know, is kind of important, all right? So we got a fresh new program here to write, and let's just jump in and get this thing going. I'm going to make this easier for you to follow by getting rid of that navigation pane and make sure that you can see the bottom. I think this is going to be good. I think you'll be able to see this. First thing we want to do is import face recognition, and then we want to also import CV2, and then let's check our version. So we will print, and it will be CV2 ___ version underscore underscore. Now all that stuff, what was it, the last 3 lessons we were getting our Jetpack installed, and we were getting Visual Studio Code installed, and we were configuring everything, and then we were installing our face recognition libraries. We better make sure that we haven't messed anything up, so I'm just going to run this program just to make sure that it will run Python file in terminal. And I will warn you, it takes about 30 seconds or so to load that face recognition library. It is a monster. Okay, well, it looked like we loaded things without an error, and we're on OpenCV version 4.4.1, so that is good. That is really good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to load our first image. Now in the past we would load the image into OpenCV by doing like a cv2.imread, something like that. Well, here we're going to read it into the face recognition software. So here we're going to do it a little different. We're going to say image is going to be equal to face underscore recognition, face recognition, and then face recognition dot load, and you can see it gets load image file, and now we have to take it, we have to get that unknown image. And so I think what I will do is I will get a little help over here using this, because rather than trying to type that whole path in, let me show. And the other thing is, if your paths are slightly different than mine, it won't work, but I'll show you how to make it work where it will work for both of us. So we open PyPro, we're going to face recognizer, we're going to demos, our demo images, and we're going to go to known, and then let's get no, let me come over to unknown, because we're just loading and showing something right now. And I think what I am going to get is I'm going to get this u3.jpg, right? It's the picture of Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi. So we're going to say properties. And let me make sure that you understand how we do that. We right mouse click, we say properties, and then under this parent folder, we right mouse click on that, say select all, and then we copy that. So we're copying the path to the file, and that way there's no way that we can mess it up. We'll come back to our program, okay? And now we need to put that in, and I need to put it inside of a single quote. So I put my single quotes, and then I'm going to put paste. And so there, what you can see is there we have the entire path to the unknown folder, and then we just need to give it the file name, which was u3.jpg. Now let's check that to make sure. Okay, it was u3.jpg. So that is going to load the image. All right, that loaded the image, and now we've got the image that we can work with. And let's just let's see here, need to come out here and then return to the next line. And then what I'm going to do now is that is inside of that library. Now we've got that image loaded, and so let's just find the face locations, face underscore locations. And so this is a variable name, and face locations, how we're going to get it is we're going to use that face underscore recognition, face recognition, and then what we're going to do is we're going to find face locations, right? Remember in OpenCV when we would find the face locations, we would use it with a cv2 command, and then we would use the har cascades. Here it's a little bit easier. We just do face recognition dot underscore face locations, and then we want to find the face locations in what image? Well, in the image we just loaded, which is image. Does that make sense? So we're going to read the image, we are going to find the faces, okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to print face locations. Like when it looks at that image, does it find faces? So let's go ahead and run this. I'm sorry it's a little slow. It's a little slower this time because that, again, that face recognition takes a second to load. Okay, look at that. Boom. What did we get down here? It found two faces. Well, that makes sense. There was the Donald and there was the Nancy. Okay, and so it found the two faces, and this, I believe, is like the row and the column of the upper left corner, and this is the row in the column of the bottom right corner of the first face. And so you get back, when you say face locations, you get back a list, you get back an array, and inside that array is like a tuple, which is a set of coordinates which shows you where the face is. So this is the corners of the first face, and then this is the corners of the second face. So that's pretty good. That's a big step forward. Okay. Now, we've done what we need to do with face recognition. Now, this is the crazy thing. Face recognition, like 99.999% of the rest of the world, uses the color space RGB. But our friends at OpenCV decided to use BGR. So if we're going to work with this now in OpenCV, now that we found the faces, what do we need to do? We need to convert the color space. So what we're going to do is we're going to say image is equal to cv2.cvt color. So cv2.cvt color, so that means convert color. We're working with image, and then we have cv2.color, all uppercase, and then what are we going to do? It is going to be RGB to BGR. So we're going to go from RGB to BGR. All right, now let's just see if we can do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is just cv2.im show, and we're just going to show it in my window, and then we are going to show image. And so this should be the right color and nothing else, but just, you know, show it in the right color. And then we got to be sure that we can close out. So we're going to say if cv2.wait key with a 0 in there, if that's equal to the ord of the letter Q, okay, if all that's true, put the semicolon on the outside. All right, what do we want to do? We want to cv2.destroy all windows. All right, so let's run this thing, and what it should do is it should just, like, the thing that we're doing that's kind of neat though is we read it using the face recognition library, we converted it to something that OpenCV would like, and then we're displaying it in OpenCV. So let's run this file. I should have done a move window. I'm sorry I didn't do a move window. There it is. All right, boom. Let's quit. That's a couple of scary mugs in there. I'm sure there's plenty in there for you to love and plenty in there for you to hate. So you make up your mind. All right, so let's do a move window. Let's do a cv2.move window. What window do we want to move? My window. And then where do we want to move it? If I remember correctly, it's just 0, 0, like that. Let's run it one more time. Hey, there we go. So what's some good news here? This seems like not such a big deal, but what is such a big deal is we have the face recognition library working, which was no small task. We spent several lessons working on getting this thing configured. And then the other thing is we've learned how to load an image. We've learned how to load an image using the face recognition library, and we've learned how to find the faces. All right, and then when we ran this, if you will notice this, when we ran it, it found those two faces and it printed out the face locations. Okay, what would you say would be the good thing that we could do now? Okay, so we converted it to the color. What would be the good thing to do now? Since we know the face locations, let's let's what? Let's box them. Okay, so how would we do that? Well, there could be more than one face location, so we need to be in a for loop, and so we're going to say for. And then what we need is, remember, it's the row in the column of the upper left and the row in the column of the bottom right. And so we need to then go from row 1, comma, column 1, and row, so that's the upper left, and then row 2, comma, column 2, that's the bottom right. You're probably backwards, remember. You're probably backwards. My upper left, my upper right, I should be saying. So those are this corner and this corner. And I need to step through, that face locations, right? Because if you look down here, right, it gives you 4 points for each face that it found. So if we're going to box the faces, we need to step through face locations, and we need to put the first number in row 1, the second number in column 1, the third number in row 2, and the fourth number in column 2. Now remember that this is going in row columns. Later on, we're going to have to do X and Y, and we got to be careful because they're kind of backwards. If you're rowing columns, you put them in an opposite order if you're using X and Y. I think it'll make sense. We've done that before, and hopefully you remember that little subtlety. But okay, now we need to put a colon there. And now what are we going to do? We're going to rectangle them. CV2 dot rectangle. Okay, where are we going to put a rectangle? On the image. And then what is the upper left point? Well, this OpenCV and this draw rectangle, it wants an X and Y. Well, what is the X value? Well, the X value, if I have rows, that's Y. Columns would be X. So this would be column 1, okay, comma, row 1. And then the other corner is column 2, row 2. Okay. Now what we need to give it is we need to give it a color. Let's give it like I think I'll give it a 255, comma 2. Let's give it a red box. Okay. So we'll just go 0, comma 0, comma 255, because remember we're in the BGR color space, so the third number is R. And then I'll give it a width of 2 for the line. Okay, so let's go ahead over here and let's see if we can run that. I made a terrible mistake there. Control D. Let's see if we can. How do we kill this thing? Let's kill it there. Okay, so now let's right mouse click carefully and run Python file in terminal. We're not very far into this lesson and my coffee is half gone. Calling back up. We still have the iced coffee. Okay, ooh, face locations is not defined. Did I misspell it? Ooh, was not an uppercase there. Face locations. Did you guys catch that? Let's try it again. So this is a pretty big deal because we're going back and forth between OpenCV and face recognition, and boom, we found the faces in face recognition library, and now we are working with them in OpenCV to draw the box and stuff. And so that is really, really good. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to quit out of that. So what did we learn here? We're going to go ahead and do another program in this lesson, but what did we learn? We learned that we have our libraries and so forth installed correctly. We learned how to load an image into our facial recognition library, and then we learned how to find the faces using the face recognition library. Okay, now that we've learned to find them, we want to recognize them. But when we do that, it's kind of like when we were looking for the eyes on the face instead of looking for the eyes everywhere. when we go in and we do face recognition, this is just kind of a heads up of where we are going here. When we want to recognize a face, we don't want to do it on the whole image. That would be silly. We want to take this little box and we want to look at that little box and recognize the face that's in the box. And then look here and recognize the face. So we're going to have an array face location. And that's going to tell us where the faces are. And then we're going to want to look at each one of those locations. And then we're going to want to see if it's a face that we recognize. So we look in the box and see if the face is a face we recognize. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We are just going to start with a brand spanking new program here. I hope we can. Let me see here. I believe I am ready to go here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to come back and open this up. We better save this little guy here. We're going to do a save, okay, and we're going to go ahead and close him. And then what we are going to do is we are in PiPro in Face Recognizer, and we are going to do a second program, okay. And this second program, I wonder if I can kind of grab that. Oops. That was not good. We're going to do Face Recognizer. We're going to add, and we're going to say Face Recognize, Face Recognize dash, can you guess? Anyone? 2.py. All right. We have a brand spanking new one here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy a little code. I'm going to copy these first 3 lines from this last program just so I don't have to type them in again. So we're loading our libraries. All right. Now, what we need to do is we need to learn faces. Okay. To learn a face, you've got to load the face and then encode the face. So let's just do, let's do Don face. Okay, Donald's face. Don face is going to be face, and I can get rid of this to make things easier on you. Don face. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to load the image. It's going to be face underscore recognition. Okay, and then dot what? Load image file. Right. Face recognition dot load image file. Now we need to load the file. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to cheat a little bit by coming back over here. And remember, this is the training one. So we're going to go to desktop, and we're going to go to PiPro, and we're going to go to Face Recognizer, and then we're going to go to demo images. Okay, and now, are we going to use a known or an unknown? Well, we're training, so we're going to want to use a known. And then I'm going to get the path to Donald Trump. So I'm going to right mouse click, and I am going to say Properties. I'm going to click on this on the parent folder, and then right mouse click, Select All, right mouse click, Copy. So this will give me the path to his picture. So I'll put a quote, and then I will paste into that. Now that gets me all the way to the folder. Now I have to put in the file name, which was Donald space Trump.jpg. And so let's check here and make sure. Yeah, the file name was Donald space Trump.jpg. You got to type that in exactly that way. All right. So now I have loaded in the Donald's face, and now I need to encode it. I need to learn it. So I need to create an encoding of his face. So I will say Don encode is equal to face recognition, face underscore recognition dot face underscore encoding, face encodings, okay, face underscore recognition dot face underscore encodings. And somebody tell me, what I want to encode. Well, Don face. So this is going to learn his face. And because you can sometimes have like more than one, so this actually returns an array, and the array only has one item in it. But I'm going to go ahead and select the 0th item, which would be the first item, the only item, but it makes the data structures correct. So if there was like more than one encoding, what it would do, it would give you a series of arrays. So it returns it in that format. So I say take the 0th one, which is the first one, and then I just end up with a simple array that I put into Don encode. You can stop and think about that, or you can just do it without worrying about it, because this is the way you need to do it. All right, but I did explain it for those that really want to know how to do it. Okay, well, I think it would be easier if I just copy this, okay, these 2 lines, and then we also need to learn the Nancy's face. So this would be Nancy face, and this would be Nancy encode. Well, I need to go to her picture, but what you know is it's in that same folder, right? It's in that same folder, but it's just Nancy Pelosi.jpg. So let's do Nancy space Pelosi. Now those file names on these known ones are important because, again, those will become the tags of who they are. So you just kind of put it in the file name and it makes things a lot easier. All right. Now to encode her, Nancy encode, we don't want to encode the Donald, we want to encode the Nancy. Okay. So that should encode those 2. All right. So now I've trained it on 2 faces, but I need to create an array that has my names, okay, and I need to create an array that has my encodings. Okay, so we're going to kind of do it easy, and then later I'll show you how you can use the file name, but we're just going to do it the easy way for now, and then I'll show you more sophisticated ways later. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say our encodings is going to be an array, which is going to be equal to, and then open brackets creates an array. It's going to be Don encode, that's the learning or the encoding of Don's face, and then Nancy encode. All right, so now I have my encodings. Now I'm going to put my names. Okay, so I'm going to create an array of names is equal to, okay, well, who was the first one? Who was the first one? Okay, the first one was Don. So we will put the Donald, okay. And then we will put Nancy Pelosi. All right, so now we have an array that has all of the encoding in a second array in the same order of who the people are. So if I find this one in the image that I'm trying to look in, this is the first position, so I know the name would be the first position. So you've got to put these encodings in the same order that you put the name. I'll show you later how you can strip off the file name and use the file name here, and kind of it makes it a little bit easier. All right, so now we have those things done. So now we got to do a little bookkeeping. We're going to work in OpenCV. So let's go ahead and set up a font. So I'll just say font is equal to cv2.font underscore Hershey underscore simplex. Hershey underscore simplex will be a simple font. Okay. Now we need to get an image that we want to look at and see if we recognize faces. Okay, and so what we will need to do then is we will need to load another image, and so we will say our test image is going to be equal to face recognition dot, remember the command, load image file. Okay, load image file, and now we got to give it a file name. Well, now do we want to go to our known or our unknown folder? Well, we're going to be doing image recognition, so we don't want to have the ones with the names on them or the ones that we trained on. We want to come to the unknowns, okay? And then look, this is the one that has the two of them in it, and we haven't trained on this one. So let's do a properties, right mouse click properties, click on the parent folder, right mouse click, select all, right mouse click copy, okay? And remember it's U3, right, because that'll be helpful in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and put the path. So I will Control V. And so we get all the way to unknown, and then what was the file in there? U3.jp.jpg. All right. So now we have an unknown image, and we're going to try to see if we can find faces and identify who they are based on this training that we did up here. Okay, now let's see. So now what I want to do is I want to find the faces in that picture. So I've loaded a picture. I need to find the faces. So I'm going to say face positions is equal to face recognition dot, how do I find their positions? Face underscore locations, okay? And then what file do I want to find these in? Test image. All right. So now what I've done is I have loaded in the picture and I have found the position of the faces. All right, now I want to create an encoding for each one of those faces, because these are going to be the unknown encodings that we compare with the known codings that we did above. So what we need to do is we need to come here now that we've loaded them, and we need to find all encodings. This is a variable we name, and it's going to be face recognition dot face underscore encodings. Okay, and now we want to do test image. That's what we're looking at, but we want to look in the face positions. And so before, when we did this face encodings, okay, we just said that there was just one, so we were just finding the first one. But here you can see that it is going to return an array, because for each one of those face positions, it's going to have an encoding. And so this is going to be an array that has the encoding arrays in it. It's going to be an array in an array. Up here, we just took the first position, so we just had just a simple array. And so this one's going to be more complicated, that we find all encodings in test image. And where do we look? We look at face positions. So it looks at each one of those positions, creates an encoding. Next position creates an encoding. Next position creates an encoding. So this array of all encodings has the encoding of the first face, the encoding of the second face, the encoding of the third face. Pause and make sure you understand that. Okay, pause and make sure you understand that. Okay, now we're going to be doing a lot in OpenCV, so let's go ahead and convert that image into something that OpenCV will like. And so we're going to go ahead and say test image is equal to cv2 dot cvt color. Okay, and then what are we converting? Test image. So we're converting the test image in the face recognition color scheme to what we're going to call test image, but now it's going to be in the OpenCV. Okay, and then it's going to be cv2 dot color and underscore. Where are we? We're in RGB. Where do we want to go to? BGR, like that. Okay. Now, we want to go in and see if we can figure out who those faces are. All right. So we are going to need to step through we're going to need to step through what? The face. I could say face underscore locations because that's the array that has it. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and say top, comma, right, comma, bottom, comma, left. All right. And you remember that face locations, right? That face locations has this array of the box for the first face and the box for the second face. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step through that, but I'm going to step through it in putting the first one into top, the second one into right, the third one into bottom, the fourth one into left, and then the next time through the loop, it would put this into top, this into right, this into bottom, and this into left. I think that's right. I hope that's right. Okay, so now we are going to do, okay, so we are going to go top, right, and I need parentheses around this. Top, right, bottom, left, okay. And then also, I want to step that through. I want to step through face encoding. Okay. So I'm going to step through the locations and put them into top, right, bottom, left, and then I'm going to step through the encodings and put them into face encoding. So the first time through, the first encoding will go into face encoding. The second time through, the second encoding will go into face encoding. And then I say in. And then since I'm stepping through two sets of variables, I need to do a zip. And that will allow me to do that. So I can say zip. And now top, right, bottom, left, that's going to go through what? Face positions, which we got up here. Right, these are our face positions, right? These are our face positions. I'm going to step through those face positions. Okay, I'm going to step through those face positions, put them into top, right, bottom, left, and then what else am I going to step through? Face encoding will step through what? Face encoding will step through all encodings. Okay, because that's the array that has all the encodings. So I'm stepping through the locations and the encodings. All right. Now, you got to think, we might actually find, so did I put a colon at the end of that? I hope so. All right. Let's put the colon. All right. Now, what you got to think of, we might find a face, that we put a box around and we don't recognize who it is. So I need to go ahead and say that if I don't know who it is, I'm just going to go ahead each time and give it a name. And I'm going to give it the name unknown person. Now, if it's recognized down below, I'll give it a real name. But if it's not recognized, I need it to have a name. And so I'll just give it this for something that it doesn't recognize. Okay. And now I need to see, are there any matches? Okay. Matches is going to be equal to face recognition, okay, face underscore recognition dot compare faces, face underscore recognition dot compare underscore faces. Now, what am I going to compare? I am going to compare encodings with face underscore encoding. Okay. Now, what is this encodings? This encodings was way back up here. it was our trained faces. So the encodings is an array that has an array called Don encode, which is Don's facial encoding, and Nancy encode. So what am I comparing here? I'm comparing my training set with the one that is the present position in the loop. So this would be the first one in all encodings, and the next time through the loop it would be the second one in all encodings. And all encodings is the encodings from when I looked at the unknown image. So basically this is looking at all the training data and comparing it to the particular face we're at this time through the loop. I hope that makes sense. Okay, now was there a match? Okay, if true, meaning there was a match in matches. In other words, if anywhere in there was a match, if anywhere in there was a match, right? So matches is equal to comparing all the encodings with our present face. If there is a match, if true is in matches means there is a match, then first match underscore index, I want to see which one it matched. It's equal to matches dot index of true. Okay, so what's that saying? If you could find true in matches, then what was the index of it? Where was it true? And that'll be the index of the match. The index would be 0 if it was Don, because he's the first, and it would be 1 if it was Nancy, because she's the second. So what we're looking for is we're looking in matches, and we're looking inside that match data structure. Is there true anywhere in there? If there is true, get the index of where the true occurred, and then that is my index. Okay, and then I know my name now. So name is going to be equal to names, right? That's all the names here. But which position? Which position would it be? Names of first match index. Okay. So this gives me the index of where the match occurred, and then I get the name from the names at that index. It would be a 0 if it was Dawn. It would be a 1 if it was Nancy. Hope that makes sense. All right. So now I have the name of the person. So now I need to put a rectangle around their box, and I need to put a rectangle around their face whether I know who they were or not. So I don't do this inside the if statement. So I say cv2.rectangle, okay? And then what do I want to do? I want to do test image. Remember, I made test image back to the right format here. And then what do I want? Well, I want to put the box at left, okay? I want to put the box at left top, and then left top, and then right bottom. Left top and right bottom. So left top, right bottom. So now I better give it a color. So we'll give it a color, let's give it red. So I'll go 0, 0, 255, because remember we're in the BGR space. And then I will give it a, I'll give it a box width of 2, you know, the line width on the box about 2. Okay. Now I need to put their name on their box. So I put text. All right, cv2.putText. Where do I want to put it? I want to put it on test image. Okay. And then I want to put it where? Well, let's put it at left, comma, and let's put it at top -6. And remember, minus is going up, so you don't want the label to be over their face. So you take the label and you move it up 6 pixels. Okay. So that is where we'll put it. And then I got to tell it which font. Well, I define the font above, so I can just write font. How big do I want the font? I'm going to put it 0.75 is going to be about right. That's how big the font is. And then what color? Let's make it like a purple, 255, 0, 255. If I'm thinking right, blue and red make purple. And then what I will go ahead and do is I will make the weight of the font about a 1. Okay. Now, outside of that, I have everything done now. So what I want to do is a cv2.im show. I think I can get some of this stuff from over here now to just finish this up. I think I can get this stuff here. Okay, I'll do a copy, and then I'll come back over here. And this is just the things to end the program. So I do an IM show of my window. Let's make sure that I think this is where we name it. And then what do we want here? We want to show, I believe we called it test image this time. Okay. And then we want to move my window to 0, 0. And then we want to wait for a queue to destroy all windows. All right. So let's do a right mouse click and let's see how many problems we had. Hold your breath. It's going to be hard to hold your breath because it's 30 seconds to load the library. It's also slow because it's having to learn every face, and that takes a while. Come on, please, please, please. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. This is painful. Painful. I can't hold my breath anymore. Hopefully that won't wreck it. Ooh, we have a problem. Line 26. What did we do in line 26? Name is equal to... I should not have put 2. Okay, because first match index names is just a simple, right, list, and so therefore we do not need those. Okay, I'm not going to hold my breath this time, okay, because I almost turned blue in the face that time. But the reason this takes a long time is it has to learn the faces. And so it looks at the Dawn face, and it's got to learn everything about it. It's studying it. And then it's got to look at the Nancy face, and it's got to learn everything about it. It's got to study it. And so those face encodings, they take a while. I wonder... I kind of wonder, maybe a better way to train it would be if we find the face and then just look inside of there. Okay, we got another error in 28. What did it not like in line 28? Okay, let's see. We have a problem here with cv2.putText text image. I see. We did not give it the text to put there, and the text that we want to put on the box is name. All right, so let's run this. Run Python file in terminal. Hopefully we'll have a little more luck here. I'm finding it awkwardly long, how long it takes to compile these things. But again, when it's doing that face recognition, built-in return null without a setting error. Okay, so again, it doesn't like that gave me an error, but then it sure put it up there. Look at that. Boom. Okay, but I don't like this error on this put text. Return null without a setting. Test image. I thought we fixed that. Oh, no. Okay, no. That was the error before. It was working that time. Okay, let's go back here. Let's run it again. Okay, what I saw that load camera error, and I thought that we still had an error, but no, we don't. So let's pull this back over here so you can see it properly. Okay, and then let's close this file explorer. All right, so we've got our program number 2. Let me get rid of this. So we've got our program number 2, and let's think about what we are doing here. We're loading Donald's face, and then we are encoding Donald's face. We're loading Nancy's face. We're encoding Nancy's face. We load, encode, then we create an encoding array of all of our learned faces, and then the names that go with that. Okay, and then what we are doing is we are loading a test image. We're finding the faces in that test image, and then we're creating encodings for all of those faces. Then with this rather complex for loop, we're comparing all of our known faces. We're comparing all of our known faces with the faces that we found in the new image. I did not like that purple color at all. Let's do kind of a yellow, right? And I'm going to see if I maybe make this a 2 weight and blue, green, red. Blue, green, red. What if we did a green, red? That might work a little better. Right mouse click, run Python file in terminal. I think this is going to work. Okay, so this is getting pretty exciting. So now do you understand the concept that we have one folder, which is the known faces that we do the training on? Now I had more known faces than I trained on, right? I had more known faces than I trained on. And then you go to the unknown faces, the unknown folder, and you pick up a picture. It will find all the faces and compare it against the faces that it knows. All right. So right now we know the Donald and we know the Nancy. Okay, the Donald and Nancy. I misspelled Nancy Pelosi. I didn't do that on purpose. I said Nance. I guess we could call her Nance, but let's, out of respect for the position, let's do that right. Let me turn this nonsense off. Sorry about that. Okay, so that should work. All right, so what you saw is that it did in fact learn the faces, and it did in fact find the faces. Let's do a different one now. Let's look at a different known picture. Okay, let's go back to our face recognizer, our demo images. Let's go to our unknown faces, and let's see here. Let me see here. Let's try this one. I don't know if that'll catch her on that one, but that is the same path, but it's the unknown 11, and let's see what happens on that. Okay, right mouse click, run Python file in terminal, and we will see what happens there. This is loading up. Wish this ran faster. But we will speed it up later. Like, I'm kind of looking at this and I'm thinking that we're doing the face recognition on the whole image, and really it seems like what we should be doing. Oh, look at that. Boom. Look at that. Do you guys see that? We've got the Donald. We've got Nancy Pelosi, Nancy with a Y, and we have an unknown person. Okay, we have an unknown person. Now, what would you like me to do right now? You tell me, what do you want me to do? Let's train it on pence, okay? And so how would we train it on pence? I think this will be pretty easy. What we will do is we will come up here and we'll just select this training and we will copy it. Those 2 lines of code, we'll copy it, all right? And then we will paste it. And then this isn't going to be Nancy face. This is going to be pence face. Pence face. And then let's see if we can see where, now we're going to come back over here to our known, and you can see that we've got a Mike Pence. So we need to make that over here with the file name Mike Pence. And then we need to come over here, and this would be Pence encode, and this would be Pence face. And then since this is added, this is the 3rd one, so this would be pence encode, and then this would be Mike Pence, like that. All right, let's see if it'll recognize it now. So I added another training file in there. I just keep thinking, should I have done a face location and then just do the learning just on the face instead of doing it on the whole thing? And that probably would make it go faster, because guys, you can see that if we're going to start running this as a video, we've got to operate a lot faster than what we're operating right here. Because you see, when we came down here and we were doing the this doesn't want to move. I think when it's getting ready to run, it's kind of like frozen a little bit there. So we'll give it a chance to run and then we'll move it over. But when we're down in the test image, we're looking at just the face locations, right? We're not looking everywhere. And so I think that would really make it go a lot faster. Okay. Mike Pence, boom. Nancy Pelosi, boom. The Donald. And you see, those pictures weren't that similar to it, to what we trained on it. So it found the 3 people based on our training. All right, this is pretty darn exciting if you ask me. And so I think that that's probably a good stopping point. And so let me see if I can give you a homework for next week. Okay, I will give you a homework for next week, and what that homework will be to come in and train it on all of the known images here, to train on all of the known images, all right, and then go in and see how well you do with the unknown images. Train on the known images and then see how well you do on the unknown images. And then after that, you can sort of start adding some more of your own, well, don't add your own pictures in yet. Just play around with the ones here. If you want to add picture, come up with separate folders, because we're going to be continuing to work with this and we kind of need to work with them the same. Okay, I am just really, really excited. We have done our first facial recognition. You can see the direction of where we're going with this. We're actually going to be going where we do this live with a video and we're recognizing faces and boxing them, and we got to speed things up where that is pretty snappy, but that's the direction we're going. But for next week, I want you to just get comfortable with this. So I want you to learn all of the faces. I want you to learn all of the faces in the known, and then compare those with the unknown. Okay, this has been a pretty cool lesson. I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm sorry this was a little slow. This program was a little slow, but we'll be speeding this thing up in future lessons. If you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing to the channel. When you subscribe, be sure to ring that bell so you'll get the notifications. And then I just, again, want to thank you guys that are helping me out over at Patreon. Okay, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.